Hi, I'm Paul Germain, and welcome to another session of Smart Boating. As you know, if you watched the show before, we cover a variety of topics from docking to marine insurance. And the general idea is to provide you with a little bit of information that will help you make better decisions and have more fun on the water. And this show is right up that alley. We're going to look at various epoxies and paint finishes that will help pretty much any boater out there. And joining me is an expert in the area. His name is Scott Bellum from Pettit Paint. Scott?
Hey Paul, thanks for having me today. Appreciate it.
Good to see you. Hey, we got a cool show here today. And but before we get into it, can you share with people a little bit about your boating background and a little bit about Pettit?
Sure. I guess from my own personal experience, I've been boating for over 40 years. It may kind of age me a little bit, but I have been on the water for over 40 years. Started out as a commercial fisherman when I was a kid. I've been working in coatings for probably 30 plus years in a bunch of different roles.
Wow.
So either as a retail associate, a retail store manager, a district manager for a very large marine chain, or in the rep business. And I also sold boats and motors and worked within the yards. And I've been working for Pettit for a while now as a technical advisor.
Okay.
So my role is to go around and educate the boat yards and the consumers on proper applications, what will work best in certain areas, as well as do demonstrations and applications with folks, just so that they know that they're putting on the right product and they're doing it the correct way.
Right, and Pettit has I guess a fairly comprehensive line of finishes and epoxies and that sort of thing.
We do. We've got our repair epoxies, we've got topside finishes, varnishes, anti-fouling coatings. It's a company that's over 150 years old, so we've been doing this for quite some time.
You have.
Now,
yes.
I'm not that old, but pretty close.
Right.
Anyway,
Well,
we've got a great line of stuff, and hopefully we can show you a few products today that'll make things easier for the boaters out there.
perfect. Well, you get just the right experience, so why don't we get into the show?
Sounds great.
Okay. Well, Scott, this area of epoxies and finishes is a huge one, and we can't possibly cover it in a half-hour show, but we can cover some highlights, I think.
Right.
Right. And one of the things boaters typically do when they unwrap their boat with a spring is they give it a once-over, looking for gouges and scrapes and maybe fittings that are starting to come loose, bedding that's starting to wear away. It's really a contact sport, boating, right?
Right. Well, believe it or not, I mean, more people probably hit docks or things floating in the water, and most of the time it's unintentional. But really, you kind of have to have a repair. You got these open gouges, straight out to the fiberglass, and we've got some products that work above and below the waterline that are real easy to use, super simple, quick application, and hopefully I can show you a couple of different real-world examples here today on this little sample board we brought.
Right, we got a gouge right in here. Maybe difficult to pick up on the camera, but the gel coat's been knocked off, and now we're down to the
Right,
substrate,
so
right?
let's consider this a minor accident at the dock.
Yeah.
So where somebody's come in, they've hit it, and maybe it's below the water line, so we're getting ready to do our bottom painting or something. We want to seal that up before we go over with the overcoating.
Right.
So we have a product called Easy Tex. It's a two-part 1-to-1 mix, and I'd like to open this up and just show you one of the first features. Is that we have it in two colors.
Interesting.
2 colors is actually really beneficial, and you'll see why in a second.
Okay.
So this is a 1-to-1 mix. Like I said, really simple.
All right.
So we take a dollop of this one.
Got a mixing pad.
We put it right here.
Yep.
We take a dollop of our green.
Yeah.
We put it right here.
All right.
And we're just going to mix this up. Now notice we've got the 2 colors, right?
Yes.
So we are going to swirl this together.
Okay.
And now the green is disappearing.
Yes.
And that is an indicator that we're mixing properly.
Yeah.
Now, once we've lost all that linear swirl from the green and we have a consistent white, we have now mixed the product.
Okay.
Some of the other competitive products out there do not mix as easily, and it's a little bit more tasking to know that you've completely mixed it.
Yes, you got
and you've got to do some real chemistry with it. This one's really simple.
Yeah.
And it mixes up essentially to the consistency of peanut butter.
Okay.
So it won't sag, it won't drag,
Oh, nice.
and it does really, really well, and it's really easy to apply.
Okay.
So we're just going to take a little bit of this, right?
Okay.
apply it to our patch. Now, I said it was really easy to apply.
Yep.
I'm going to take a simple business card
Okay.
and use that as my squeegee.
Okay.
And now we have made the repair. So this particular product has a pot life of about 60 minutes.
Okay.
So we've got a number of different gouges around the boat. We've gone around, we've done our inspection, found a couple of different places. We have plenty of time to use this batch.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right? So now that we've done the repair, we've got about 5 hours. So today we're
Okay.
working about 70 degrees.
Yeah.
Temperature is important with these products. We've got to make sure that we have the correct temperatures. Too
Right.
cold,
Right.
it won't set correctly. So we don't want to push it. You know, springtime around here in the Northeast, it's either spring, winter,
Right.
or we're right into summer. So just make
Right.
sure you're picking your day when you're doing this.
All right, all right.
70 degrees, perfect temperature to make these repairs.
That's important, yeah.
Yep. In about 5 hours from now, it'll have cured and we can sand it and then we can overcoat if we need to.
Excellent.
Within 24 hours, it'll be fully cured and set.
Super.
So
Now we've got some little snaps here. These are common snaps that you see to hold down covers typically. And this one's more than loose. It comes out in my hand.
right. So this one's a great product. So think about it. We're out on the boat. It's a breezy day. You're cruising out to, you know, one of the islands, or you're going out for a day on a picnic. You're going to throw the hook. All of a sudden, one of the snaps pulls.
Yes.
Happens all the time.
Right.
They get
Oh, yeah.
corroded, they
Yeah.
get loose from the wind forcing it back and forth.
Yeah.
We've got a product that you can keep right in the boat, right in your toolbox. It's a 5-minute epoxy. Again, really simple chemistry on this one. We have a resin.
Okay.
We take 1 part of,
All right. Get it up here so people can see it.
and we've got our hardener. So again, we're in 2 colors.
Yeah.
So we have our indicator. You just take one of our little mixing paddles. Now this one won't mix to white. She'll mix to a consistent gray.
Oh, okay.
So when the black and white have disappeared,
Yeah.
and we get a consistent gray on here, we know that we are thoroughly mixed.
Okay.
Now this product, because it's a 5-minute epoxy, it sets off really quick.
Oh, yeah.
We only have about 2.5 minutes on the pot life on this.
Okay.
At these temperatures.
So do you put a little on
So for a repair like this, we can either apply it right into the hole.
this? Yeah.
I like to just slide it on the thread,
Okay.
set it in there,
Yeah.
and now in about 5 minutes she'll cure, and she'll be set, and there won't be any taking it out.
Nice.
Give it a little bit longer, she'll be fully cured, and now we've made a repair while we're out on the water.
Beautiful.
And that is going to be a permanent nice epoxy repair. You should have no issues with that going forward.
Very nice.
Now that will take care of the structural and the adhesive quality of fixing that little hole that we had where we pulled out the fastener.
Super.
Yeah, it's a great little product. Both of these products, again, are designed so that once we seal them back up, we can reuse them and reuse them and reuse them as many times as we need to. So we just close these jars back up and we throw these right back in our toolbox. And you can use these for as long as you can keep them in your toolbox and make sure you keep the covers on.
That's good news.
Yeah, it's a great product. A lot of the competitive stuff out there is a single use, or there's a lot of chemistry to it. This just makes it a lot easier for your boater, and these are great products to use in a yard too.
Perfect.
You know, some of the guys working around with their carts and stuff,
Yes.
they don't have to waste any product
Right.
by
right.
mixing up a whole batch for a small little repair.
Good point.
So we can come back to it anytime.
Good point. Well, Scott, a boater encounters a lot of scrapes and bumps and bruises, and oftentimes, you know, in different areas of the country, they have trouble with blisters. So we've got a panel here that if we imagine it had originally had a blister,
Yep.
it shows it being dug down and dug out, right? And then you have
Correct.
products that help fill that in, right?
Yeah, so we've got this great product called Easy Fair. So unlike our Easy Tex, this one is a rapid cure product.
Okay.
It has a 10-minute pot life. Again, it's a 2-part, and I'll show you how easily it mixes. It
Okay.
actually comes in a tube, so a part A and a part B,
All right.
which is really unique. We just pull our little plug and our cap off,
Yeah.
and we
Squirt it right there. I'll
squirt it
hold
right
that.
onto our pallet, right?
Yeah. Yep.
We'll put that back down. Grab our mixing sticks. Again,
Okay.
notice the colors. We
Yeah,
got
the gray and the white.
2 different colors.
Yeah.
And so when we mix this and we get a consistent white, and we've lost all the swirl in the gray.
So that's a nice telltale.
Correct.
Especially for someone that doesn't do this every day, right?
That's right. So it makes it a lot easier for them. Again, this one we're looking at probably the consistency of, you know, cake frosting or
reminds me
peanut
of butter. Or,
Right, right. So we're going to do the same thing again.
Okay.
We're going to go ahead and take this product, apply it, put it into the spot where we need to fix, right?
Yes.
And again, simple, simple, easy. Spreads so nicely we can use a business card.
Okay. And you say the cure time is pretty quick on this one?
Yeah, so pot life of about 10 minutes.
Wow.
And the cure time on this is about 3 hours. So you can do multiple layers if needed, and then sand after the 3 hours.
Wow.
So we got a 3-hour sanding window.
Beautiful.
So it allows you to get multiple things done. And again, if you've got multiple, so when you're doing a blister job, you've probably got quite a few of them that are opened up that we want to fare over the top of.
Right.
So this is a great product for that. And what makes it really unique is now that we've used it, we put our little cap back in here and then drop our top back on.
All right.
And now we can reuse this product, so we haven't wasted anything. So it's kind of metered, so we can use it as needed.
Yeah.
Which makes it really convenient, and it is a great product for you know, the guy that is doing a lot of different multiple repairs, doesn't need to mix everything all up at once, and can come back to it from time to time. So this is a great product that we have, you know, that really accompanies the EasyTex product line.
And then you've got products that you can fill holes with under hardware, right?
Yeah, so another common problem that boaters will have, if I get you to hold that one up, is under hardware. So after some time, you know, you get an older boat, we get a little bit of water intrusion, it goes down into the screw, it, you know, saturates the wood, it gets wet, now the fasteners want to pull out. So this particular product, Flex Epoxy, is a structural epoxy. And what we can do with this one is we can take out the affected area, so you can see by the example where I've used a hole saw. And then we just go back once it's been set. Just need you drill it out. And put our fastener back in. And we are all set to go. And now we've got a structural epoxy in place that has replaced all that rotted out wood. So now we have a secure place that we can put our fastener in.
That gives it some real strength.
Yeah, it does. And it does some really unique things. So I brought this example here. So on this particular side, you'll see I haven't done anything to it. I just put that in with, again, just a little business card, or you use your little squeegee, put that in. It doesn't sag, so you can fill a hole or a gap, and you won't have that. It has no thermal burn, so it won't heat up like some traditional epoxies that you mix into a container. So this one I'm going to do something unique as well. So we're going to drill this one out. Really quickly. And show you, I got a little tap here for a 1/4 right? And we're going to tap this. To show you just
rigid,
how
that's solid.
Yep. And Flex Epoxy is actually designed to stay flexible to an extent so that it's really great for like keel joints or in underwater repairs where you need that. But in some cases where you need to actually facilitate a repair and then thread a bolt right into it. It's tappable. So it's a really great multi-use product, and it can be used in a lot of different places and applications, you know, around the boat. And we even make a bonding epoxy that's great. This one is great for laminating woods and things of that nature. So if you're doing, say, like a tow rail, and you need to join it without any fasteners, great product. You can hardly even notice that it was joined. You just drop that right in there. Again, this is another 2-part. We find that it's very unique to have this particular style because we're not looking to waste. You don't need to mix a whole tube or a whole can at one time. So the guys really like this, the do-it-yourselfer at home or the guy in the yard.
Well, Scott, you know, people with all variety of boats watch this show, and what I oftentimes envision is someone with like a They got an 18-foot whaler, they got a 21-foot Mako,
Right.
a few years old, 5, 10 years old, and you know, around here you got the salt, and that tends to strip the wax off, and then the gel coat oftentimes dulls, which gets people thinking, oh, maybe I should paint the top sides of my boat, freshen it up, make it look good again.
Right, yeah,
put
a
off
lot of
the new boat
restoration
purchase.
work is done in this area, yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So we've got some paints here that could help somebody if they've got, say, a 21-foot Mako. This is the sort of stuff they could use to spruce it up, right?
Absolutely. We've got a great line of products in our Easy Epoxy line. The first step really is our Easy Prime.
Yeah.
So you take an older boat like we have here in the background that may have some nicks, scrapes, scratches.
Yeah, some gouges.
So yeah, it's a little tiny gouges or you know, surface stuff that we want to fill in. This is a high build primer.
Okay.
Quick to dry,
Yeah.
so we can put the application on,
Yeah.
come back, overcoat in 4 hours, but if it's one coat is enough, we can sand it,
Okay.
and it'll actually self-level everything out
Oh,
so that
nice.
we create a nice base for our Easy Epoxy.
So it helps to make it easy for not only the professional, but the amateur at home.
Absolutely, absolutely. Super easy to sand, and it's really going to help with the finish that we're going to go and put over the top of
Okay.
it. So we've got a single part, what we call Easy Epoxy.
Right.
It's offered in a rainbow full of colors. I
Okay.
mean, we've got
Yeah.
a whole bunch of them.
Yep.
The one I brought today was a bikini blue, popular like on the inside of like a Boston whaler or
Absolutely.
something, right?
Yeah.
This particular product can be rolled and tipped or sprayed. In most cases, our common guy is just going to roll and tip.
Yes, he is, right.
So we're going to take a fine roller,
Yeah.
a wet edge on the brush.
Yeah.
We're going to roll a small section
Yeah.
and then come back and tip it. We don't want to roll the entire surface
see.
first,
Section by section.
section by section. So
Okay.
you're going to go about 1.5 feet, 2 feet at most at any one given time. And again, very temperature dependent. Too warm out, it may not settle and level as you want, so you have to be very careful.
Very careful. Then.
So,
okay.
And now we also offer a secondary performance enhancer.
Okay.
This particular product, real simple, it's 2 ounces to a quart.
Okay.
It will actually increase the gloss,
Okay.
the hardness, the durability and abrasion resistance.
Okay.
It helps with the self-leveling and enhances the dry time. So essentially it kind of makes a single part into a 2-part.
So the
Really
trade-off
just-
is you have better durability, but a little less flexibility.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, if you were doing a wooden boat, we'd just stay with our single part.
Okay.
On a glass boat like this is a great product to
Right,
use.
'cause it's not gonna
really,
flex
really
that
kick
much.
it up. Yep.
Yeah. How about this? This is a deck paint.
Easy
Non-skid
decks.
deck paint.
Right. So you've got guys that got work boats out there or
Oh,
fishing
yeah.
boats, and they're dropping stuff on decks and they're wearing down the non-skid after about 10 years. This particular product, pre-mixed. It's already got our durable
The non-skid in there.
non-skid finish included in it. We
Okay.
shake it up.
Yep.
We tape off the areas we don't want to paint.
Yeah.
Make sure that the surface is ready. It's been sanded. It's all set to go. We can lay this right over the top.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And then this is bilge paint. I've never heard of bilge paint before.
Easy bilge, yeah.
bilge.
It's designed to be really simple. So in a lot of cases when you're doing a restoration, it's not just the decks or the hull side.
yeah.
You're cleaning up the bilge as well.
Maybe repowering it. You got the
Yep,
engine out
yep.
there. Why not finish it off?
So while you're down there, you're doing all that work. You degrease it.
Yeah.
You properly prepare the surface and sand it and everything else. And I'll just say this quick, like a lot of different paint companies, there are technical bulletins
Yes.
that are provided
Okay.
that give you step-by-step instructions on all of these. So it's not something you have to figure out by yourself. We all offer some technical help and assistance, whether it be something you can print or if you want to give somebody a call.
Okay.
And this particular product is designed to be fuel and oil resistant.
Okay.
So that once
All right.
it's down there,
Yeah.
you can be pretty secure that it'll last within the bilge environment. It's not always the friendliest or nicest place, but if you're going through all the trouble of doing the restoration on
Yeah.
the boat,
Yeah. Finish it off.
above the deck and below the deck are just as important.
Well, Scott, part of the spring ritual every year is sanding off and reapplying bottom paint around
Right.
here. And it's interesting because you go into one of these big box stores and they've just got a dizzying array of paint. It's kind of tough to figure out where to start. Can you just give us an overview of the different families, if you will?
There's a lot of choices. So in our particular product line, we basically have 4 families. So we have a hybrid family, we have a hard, we have a durable ablative, and an ablative.
Okay.
Our hybrid, which is a new product line for us, takes the best of 2 things. It takes the best of an ablative and a hard paint kind of combines the two.
Okay.
So you get a self-polishing product that doesn't build up, but you can still use as a for a trailerable boat.
Oh, I see.
So
That's
there's
the
no
issue.
maintenance in
Right.
between of
Right.
taking the boat in and out of the water.
Okay.
We offer it in multiple varieties,
Mm-hmm.
just because we need to make sure that when a customer comes in, they get the right boat for the water that they're on.
Get the right paint, yeah.
So we've got 3 solvent-based and 1 water-based
Okay,
product.
all right.
In our durable ablatives,
Mm-hmm.
you happen to be holding what we call Black Widow.
Yeah.
That's a specialty paint in our durable ablative lines.
Okay.
It's a performance racing paint.
Oh, it
It's got a
is?
lot
Okay.
of slickening agents.
Oh.
Guys on sailboats love it. Big boats like it because get better fuel
Economy, sure.
And then we've
Sure.
got our Vivid product, which is a great product, and based on its formulation, allows for some really, really nice colors.
Oh,
So you can get
okay.
some really bright colors and things of that nature.
All right, all right.
What's really popular in this area is this one, Paul.
Okay.
Is the Hydrocoat family.
Right.
It's a water-based product.
Yeah.
It's an ablative.
These just came in a couple of years ago, right? The water-based products?
Yeah, a few years back.
Mm.
They've been around for a little while. They're really starting to gain traction.
Yeah.
Because when you open the can,
Yeah.
you don't get that really
Don't
heavy.
get knocked over by the fumes.
Right. So everybody has done that before, and
Yeah.
boatyards love it because they can paint inside.
Oh,
It's
okay.
soap and water cleanup.
Yeah.
So you and I like it because if we make a mess of ourselves, we're not taking nasty solvents and
Yes.
trying to clean ourselves up.
Been there, done that.
Right. Yeah, I think we all have.
Yep.
You can clean your brushes, soap and water, reuse them.
Yeah.
The products are super, super effective,
Right.
and we offer them in 3 different, pretty much product categories within this particular line.
Mm-hmm.
We have a single ablative product that has a single biocide. We have a couple that are dual biocides.
Okay.
2 with copper, 1 without. That is a little
yeah.
bit more.
That's the eco, right?
Yes, it's a
Yeah.
little bit more environmentally friendly. The product or the biocides biodegrade in the water column. In areas that have problems or issues with copper,
Yeah.
or have copper restrictions, that's the product that they use.
That's perfect.
And
yeah.
again, soap and water cleanup throughout the line. And now every time you go out, a little bit more of that paint ablates off or
Yeah.
wears off,
Yeah.
so that when you take the boat out at the end of the year, you don't have that buildup.
Nice.
And then when we're painting every year and doing the sanding, we don't have that buildup to worry about. We're all about less maintenance over
Yes.
the course of your boating career or life.
Yeah,
So
good
yeah,
points.
it's a great, great product. Very, very popular here in the Northeast. Super easy to work with and really easy to clean up.
You know, Scott, one of the things that most boaters go through every season is the ritual applying paint to the bottom and trying to make it stick.
Right.
And if they have a new boat, they can buy a product like this BioBlue, which is a cleaner, a cleanser to remove the mold wax, right? Which is a big reason the paint falls off.
Yeah, it's a great substitute to having to use some of those strong, harsh chemicals that actually really don't work all that well. There's an aggregate based in suspension. It's bright blue in color. You put it on with just a roller and then use a Scotch-Brite.
Okay.
You frost the surface and then wash it off with a hose, and you've removed your wax.
Beautiful.
And without any of those heavy, smelly chemicals.
Right.
So a
we
lot
don't-
easier to use.
So that's, if we had a new boat, we'd use that. But we
Correct.
don't have a new boat, we have a used boat here, and we've got some safety gear with it. It's really, really important. Protect your eyes, protect your
Correct.
respiratory system. That's why we've got these.
Yep.
Wear gloves, maybe even hood up. So you handle safety first, and then what are the steps to consider when you're going to apply bottom paint on this?
So you're always going to check your substrate and make sure it's ready. So in this particular case, we've got an older boat. It does need some sanding in order to get a great mechanical etch and some teeth into it.
Yes.
So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the sander,
Okay.
put some 80 grit on it,
Yeah.
and we're really going to try to take some of this down. So we've got some issues with some old paint on here,
All right.
and get down to a good substrate.
Okay.
So
All
let's
right.
throw the sander masks on and
Yep.
get a little sanding done here.
Okay.
So you'll notice we got through some of that other stuff.
Yes.
We feathered out issues that we've had in the past.
Yeah.
And So we know what we've had on here. This was an ablative paint prior to, so we know we can go over the top of it with another ablative paint.
Compatible, yes.
Compatible. So
Yep.
in all of the manufacturer's books, there are compatibility charts.
All right.
So if you know what's on there,
Yeah.
great. Pick the correct paint to go over the top, and
pick the correct
they'll tell
paint.
you. Yep.
Temperature is important in
Temperature
this,
is
right?
really important. We don't want to be doing this out in the cold.
Right, okay.
Keep in mind that the boat itself holds the temperature
Yes.
from the night before.
Yes, yes.
So if you had 30-degree temperatures last night, you got to wait till the hull temperature comes up to a consistent 50 degrees.
Okay, all right.
Really, really important, because it will change the nature of how the paint goes on.
Okay, all right.
So
now this is one of those new paints, like maybe a hydrocoat or something, and they use a very
this is
short,
hydrocoat. Yep.
a short nap to them, don't they?
Yeah. So we ask that everybody uses a 3/16" nap roller. We don't really need you to what we call mop it on.
Yes, right, right.
It's a waste of paint.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make it any more effective.
Okay.
It actually, in some cases, will hinder the adhesion.
Oh.
So you may go back to the tray a couple more times than you would normally do,
Okay.
but you get a much better application.
All right, all right.
So simply we're just rolling on, making sure we get a consistent application
Okay.
across the space. We're prepared. If you start to really drag that paint out, just go back to the tray.
Okay.
And you'll notice we've taped off your drive here.
Yes, yes.
So for our copper-based paints, we want to keep them about an inch away from that drive, 3/4
Okay.
of an inch
All right.
at the closest. For your regular non-copper paints, they can actually go right up to the metals because
Oh,
they're
yeah.
compatible with
Right,
metals.
right, right.
And really, you know, just being consistent and making sure you don't drag that paint out too far
I
and,
see, okay.
and stretch it.
A thin coat, but don't overdo
Thin
it.
coat,
Yeah.
but don't go too thin.
Don't try to stretch it too far.
Yeah, right. And you know, once that dries out, we can come back and put our second coat on there, and then we're all set for the season, ready to go boating.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, it's hard to believe, but time to wrap up the show.
Time flies.
Yep, and we covered a lot of ground here today on
did.
epoxies and different types of paint finishes, whether for the top coats or for the hull or different surfaces. Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up the show today?
Well, first off, thanks for inviting me. It's always great to be able to talk about some of the stuff that you're passionate about. And
Yeah.
obviously, we're all passionate about the marine industry, right?
Right, right.
So today we've got a lot of new technology coming out.
Yeah.
You know, you've got your 5-minute epoxies, your fairing compounds, your hybrid paints, a lot of different things, a lot of different choices out there for folks.
Right.
Sometimes it gets a little over daunting.
Yes,
but
yes.
go into the stores. A lot of the folks are very well versed, and then you have us as, you know, manufacturers representatives as a place to go for technical information if you need it. So that we have 800 numbers. We have petitpaint.com,
Okay.
where the consumer can go on and log in and find those technical bulletins, find out about a lot of the new offerings that are out there.
Yeah.
We've got questions about dry times. We talked a lot about temperatures and things that you have to
Yes,
worry about.
yeah.
A lot of great hints that we have on our website for that as well as paint selectors. You know, you're not sure what you want?
Right.
You can enter in just a few different little requirements that you have,
Perimeters, yeah.
where you're at,
Yeah.
in as far as the country is concerned,
Yeah.
and we'll send out a suggestion on what kind of paint you should be using.
Perfect.
So got some great tools that are out there for folks, and it's always a great time of year as we get ready to get the boats back in the water.
It sure is.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining me.
Yeah.
And thank you, Smart Boating viewers, for watching today. If you have comments or questions, contact us at www.smartboatingus.com. Thank you.